In the history of U.S. high strangeness, no event is more intrinsically tied to documented disaster than the crisis that unfolded in Point Pleasant, West Virginia between 1966 and 1967. This was a year of pervasive terror marked by the sightings of a terrifying, massive, winged humanoid creature. The public knew it as Mothman. Intelligence knew it as Project Graywing. This was an operational file that forced the FBI, DIA, and CIA to analyze the possibility of prophecy, mutation, and high frequency recognizance all at once. The Mothman was not just a cryptid, it was a signal that arrived before the catastrophe. Today, using the documented intelligence analysis of the CIA RDP 70 series, we undertake the Project Graywing. We will determine if the creature was a biological scouting asset, a government experiment, or a genuine herald of doom. The crisis began in November 1966. Initial reports, often from highly credible witnesses like law enforcement and military personnel, described a massive figure 6 to 7 feet tall with huge wings folded against its back and, most chillingly, glowing hypnotic red eyes set in the chest area or near the head. The sightings clustered around the T&T area, an abandoned World War II ordnance plant that included vast tunnels and concrete bunkers. The intelligence community immediately flagged the area due to two critical factors. One, chemical environmental contamination. The site was known for chemical contamination, raising the possibility of radical mutation. Two, strategic infrastructure proximity. The crisis was unfolding next to the Silver Bridge, a crucial transport link to the Ohio River. The sheer volume and inconsistency of the sightings forced the FBI and local DIA analysts to categorize the threat. The file was initially tagged for its biological curiosity. An early FBI DIA assessment noted the chilling sensory experience of the witnesses. Quote, the reported physical dimensions exceed all known regional nocturnal avians. Crucially, multiple independent witnesses report extreme neurological symptoms, including localized oral pain and sustained paralysis, preceding or accompanying the visual manifestation of the entity. The initial, most conventional intelligence hypothesis documented within CIA RDP 70 series was the biological mutation theory. Could the Mothman be a massive, misidentified avian like the sandhill crane, or was it a creature uniquely mutated by the T&T area's toxic legacy? Analysts explored the creature's anatomy, focusing on the rumored absence of a head. The red eyes were reportedly in the chest area, remember. The theory was that the high concentrations of toxins had created a massive deformed bat or other mammal. A CIA RDP 70 memo focused on the environmental plausibility, saying, and I quote, while zoological identification remains impossible based on the available data, the proximity of the sightings to known high-density chemical contamination zones supports the theory of a massive genetically nocturnal organism utilizing a high-efficiency metabolic structure. The assessment shows the CIA was genuinely trying to fit the Mothman into a known biological category, even if it required extreme mutation. The investigation pivoted entirely when analysts realized that Mothman was not an isolated event. Its appearance coincided perfectly with an explosion of high-frequency UAP sightings. Small, fast, silent lights that moved with impossible velocity. Witnesses frequently reported the Mothman following cars or emerging from the same woods where the UAP activity was highest. This convergence led to a chilling new hypothesis. Was the Mothman a biological scout, a guardian, or a signature of the unconventional aerial vehicles? This was the core of Project Graywing's assessment. They were analyzing the relationship between a cryptid and the UAPs. A key DIA intelligence summary noted the operational link, saying, quote, the high correlation between Mothman manifestation and localized high-speed UAP activity, often accompanied by documented high-frequency audible signatures, suggests the possibility that the biological entity functions as an operational scout, sensor, or protective mechanism for the associated aerial platform. And then, end quote, You also have to keep in mind a lot of people that claim that they saw Mothman also claim that they were paralyzed right while they were looking at Mothman. So do keep that in mind. The creature was no longer just a monster, it was part of an intelligence system based on this assertion. The crisis culminated on the evening of December 15th, 1967. The Silver Bridge, the crucial link between Point Pleasant and Ohio, collapsed during rush hour, killing 46 people. Crucially, the Mothman sightings, which had terrorized the region for 13 straight months, ceased entirely the moment the bridge fell. This led to the most difficult intelligence question of all. Was the Mothman a prophetic entity? Did it appear as a warning sign that the intelligence community failed to read? The intelligence analysts that followed the disaster was intense. They focused on two non-conventional theories. One, that the Mothman was a psychic warning, i.e. a prophecy. The CIA had already analyzed psychic phenomenon, like the psychic lore file, like Project Stargate, like remote viewing Bigfoot. These are all things we've covered in prior episodes. Analysts had to consider if the Mothman was an interdimensional entity or a non-human asset capable of precognition, appearing as a psychological marker before catastrophic events. A retrospective RDP-70 assessment on the bridge collapse addressed the psychic factor directly, saying, and I quote, "The temporal correlation between the cessation of Mothman phenomenon and the Silver Bridge structural failure provides strong, albeit non-conventional, evidence of the entity functioning as a precognitive environmental marker or intelligence signature tied to the localized buildup of kinetic or structural instability." 2. Operational distraction, the technical attack. The more sinister analysis was that the Mothman was a deliberate distraction used to mask a technical attack on the bridge. Could the creature's appearance and the concurrent high-frequency UAP activity have been designed to distract local authorities while a hostile intelligence asset, like the Soviets or the Chinese, used a low-level directed energy weapon, like those assessed in the acoustic attack file, or the Moscow signal, or the Havana syndrome episode, to weaken the bridge structure? The final GRAYWING assessment remained inconclusive on the Mothman's nature, but concluded the event was a massive intelligence failure. They failed to read the signal, whether it was psychic or technical. Project GRAYWING stands as the ultimate file on prophetic disaster. It proved that sometimes the most terrifying threats are not hostile warships or directed energy, but the signal that something is fundamentally wrong with reality, and that intelligence needs new tools to read those signals. We've covered the skies and disaster sites today. Next, we're going to dive into the most opaque, challenging intelligence environment on the planet, the deep ocean. We're going to be pivoting for the next episode to deep sea mysteries, Project Sea-Watch, the DIA and Office of Naval Intelligence Assessment of Persistent Unidentified Submerged Objects, USOs, and massive fixed non-submersible objects, NSOs, on the ocean floor, often reported by naval assets. We will analyze the CIA RDP-89 series memos detailing the analysis of high-speed silent aquatic craft and the investigation of alleged underwater installations in restricted global waters, like the Baltic Sea and the North Atlantic. We'll assess the core question: was this advanced Soviet submarine technology or truly unknown non-human intelligence utilizing the deep ocean as a base of operations? For instance, was it the city of Atlantis and they're all mermaids? The documented truth of the Mothman's terrifying warning is undeniable, and if this journey into the official record has captivated you, then your support for the channel is appreciated as we dive into the next episode with crushing pressure from the deep sea. I'll see you in the archives.